So, the thing about intros, lately I've been doing just an abrupt start. Just get right into it. Introducing myself at the beginning of every video has felt awkward to me. I don't know if it's like that for anybody else. Unless it feels warranted. So, we'll see if this is the last time you hear me do this. This is TrazLander of the Whiskey Brigade. Traz for short. I'm secretly not super thrilled with the name I gave myself, but what can you do? This is my map-making series, which I consider more of a creative mode LP sometimes. Each episode revolves around accomplishing a single task or showing off a single discovery. Sometimes this gets really technical and advanced, but that's just how it goes. This is my single-player world. What you see is what's here. I haven't had this world for too long. Oop. So, before I start, if you don't know, this is entirely going to refer to things from last episode. So go check it out. It's less than 3 minutes. And also, how you in the world you got to this episode before seeing last episode, I don't know. Also, I'm not going to be getting into the MCEdit filter I used. Like, this is the redstone activated spawner filter. This was used a lot. But, I'm not going to go into that too much, and the tutorial steps I used to create what I did. I know, I'm sorry. But I'm going to explain all the tricks I used, and how everything worked, and try to answer some of the big questions everybody had. I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to give big thanks to Texelelf for the filter. He did like 50% of the work here by creating the MCEdit filter that allowed me to do all of this without too much headache. Doing mass amounts of editing and whatever. Probably more on that next episode, but hey, here's a preview. Man, spawning a house sucks. I've been trying to work out how to best explain this easily, and decided to just go through how I ran into it. So to start, this spawner spawns this minecart spawner, which spawns that block. Now, this minecart spawner is specifically set up to create only or spawn only once, and it fully resets. So I've been using these a lot in the last few months. So about 3 months ago, while fiddling with things, I accidentally did this. Holy crap! I just changed a block into another block. How did this happen? So the next part's pretty technical. Remember, I warned you. So, a falling sand entity has a bunch of little tags that it saves on itself to define stuff like how fast it's moving and where it's going, and also what happens to it when it lands. The tag we're looking at that is on this falling sand entity is time. Everyone's probably heard of game ticks and redstone ticks. Time is a little number that will tick up on the falling sand entity every time a game tick happens. So, whenever one gets added to time, every game tick, it also checks for 3 things. So time doesn't do much, but these 3 little things. If time gets above 600, so if time goes over 600, that's game ticks, it kills the entity. That's 30 seconds. So they put a preventative measure to make sure falling sand doesn't fall forever. Okay. That's cool. The next thing, if time gets above 100 seconds, or ticks, which is 5 seconds, and gets into the void, y minus 1, or below, let's see, it gets below 1, below minus 1, y, whatever, gets into the void, it also kills the entity. I don't know why it waits 5 seconds to destroy the entity in the void, but that's what it does. And the third thing it checks for is time 1. And this is what we're looking at. When a falling sand entity finds that its time just ticked to 1, it checks the block that it's in. So, if this checks the block here, and if it can't find a block with the same block ID, it instantly destroys the entity. So this spawner is set up for time to go from time 0 to time 1. So it starts at 0, it's set to time 0, and when it goes to 1, it can't find a block, and it destroys the entity. But when it can find a block, it destroys the block, and lets the falling sand entity continue to fall. Now, I only said ID, the block ID, not damage value. These are all the same block ID here. Are all 17. So they have different value, 3, 1, 2, and different facing logs have different damage values, but it's the same block ID. They're still all 17. So that will actually delete the block and let it continue to fall. If it's not the same, it doesn't allow us spawning. This one's 45, these are all 17, so it's not able to do it to those, but these are 17. Now, keep in mind, I accidentally ran into this a few months ago, which I actually... I ran into a few people that had the same exact story. They accidentally changed a block when messing with time 0. Jiggerbov, Kazik, and Sethbling mentioned Disco had ran into it. So, from 99,000 views on the video in 3 days, Kazik's the only one who straight up messaged me, "You're manipulating time 0 to delete blocks, aren't you?" Yep. Yes, I am. So, 1 in 99,000. It's pretty good. Not bad. I actually wasn't sure if anybody would find it. It's kind of a really obscure kind of little trick you have to kind of accidentally run into it to find it. Now, I do want to thank Kazik because he kind of helped me, and Kazik and Monster Apple, they're of the OCTC Project Ares servers, and they kind of helped me out with kind of looking into the code and trying to figure out some extra the questions that I had of why things were happening the way they were. So, props to them. Go play on their PvP servers. They're cool. So now, thinking back to last episode, let's see how much this explains. So, the first thing we do, hit a lever, and we just turned a sign into a cake. That's not the same block ID, and the cake disappeared. You can't explain that. Try and explain that. So how did I do that? Well, a couple weeks ago, realizing I was turning solid blocks into falling sand, I had an epiphany. What if I spawn another block at the exact same time in the exact same spot? So, this happened. Cue creepy video of me talking to myself. It could work. Is it going to work? Oh, almost. Oh, wait, it's a... Okay. Oh, God, that was close. Okay. Do them at the same time. Wait, no, they're gonna be at the same time anyway. Oh, God! I did it! Oh my God, I did it! Holy crap! Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe I did it. Okay, this is... Alright. Whew, okay. Yes, I know. In my defense, I knew exactly... Well, I was 99% sure it was about to work. And I was pretty pumped. Yeah. Anyway, so since then, I've been refining it. What the filter's doing is converting these signs into spawners. It'll convert these two signs and make them go to this same location using test1 as the ID. So it'll grab test1, test1. The extra stuff on these signs is extra variables you can set. There's a list of little options you can set to the filter. So what I'm doing here is dt is time. So it changes the time to 0. So this is the one that needs to override, and this is the dt is 1. So this is the one that needs to replace it. So there you go. The other thing that's set here is dd. That's the delay, the initial delay of the minecart spawner. Now, back then, what I originally did was I changed the delay to make it so that the thing destroyed the block slightly after this block started falling, just to make sure this would land first. And I kept running into issues with this, and I also wanted to use that delay for avoiding having to make a bunch of redstone wiring. I could just add delay to the spawner instead, and stuff like that. So I figured out I could change this to height. dy adds height. dy plus 0.25. I didn't even put it on this one. So basically this spawns it slightly above where this one's going to spawn at. So this one's going to spawn at the middle of the block. This one's going to spawn at slightly above 3/4 of the way up the block. And it pretty much just forces the blue block to land before that one does. So just did it without using delay. You can see the birch was slightly higher and wasn't able to land because oh, what am I doing? Because the lapis was in the way. So, deleted the birch and allowed the lapis to land first. I kept finding more and more workarounds, kept finding more and more tricks I could do. This is the cake at the beginning of the thing, so it swaps the sign. Just need to throw a sign down. Switch the sign to a cake. Falling entity of a sign looks funny. I wonder if that will work. No, wall sign isn't the same ID. But it has that weird thing. That's just what the sand entity looks like. Levers do the same thing. You can change... Bam! So you can also change a down lever to an up lever. But on that note, you don't need to destroy the block when it comes to changing something of the same block ID. All you need to do is have a spawner set to time 1, and it'll just change the damage value. So there's several little techniques that I used to create all this. Yeah, this came in handy, especially since buttons can't land. I don't know. If I spawn a button now and it tries to land here, it just pops out. It can't land on any surface or anything. It's annoying. So like, oh, I'm gonna have to try to use levers. Levers worked out better, I think. You think? Yeah, I think they're good. They're good. Alright, let's do a running count of what we have so far. Number 1, turn any block into falling sand with time 0. Number 2, you could change the block ID, something with the same block ID, with the same damage value. Just simply using one spawner. You can change one block into something with a different block ID, with a second spawner landing slightly before that one's the one you destroyed is able to land. And here's the fourth thing, is basically the cake disappearing is just a trick by destroying the block underneath it. The cake needs to be able to sit on that, and if you just refresh the lapis block with ×0, it destroys the cake. So that's all that is. Alright, here we go. We'll look down there in a bit. So the lever's obviously powering that. The blocks all out under here get changed to half slabs, so all the bedrock's able to fall and land on the half slabs and destroy itself. Every bedrock block, of course, has a spawner associated with it, and with time set to 0, it turns them all to falling sand. Kind of see how this works. And it turns it all into half slabs and then changes it back afterward. The lever wasn't able to fall correctly because I broke the floor, but yeah. Then this spawns over here, all part of the same sequence. This pops up. That's also goes down that way. I spawned this block on top of the sandstone that was there with the lever. Then put the redstone dust there. Replace the full block with the redstone dust. All the same kind of technique. And then we have the house. So we're going to go over here, because this is kind of cool. Here it comes. Most of this is about the same type of stuff, but what I'm doing here is filling the entire house up with slabs, clearing them out, and replacing the lower level with the floor. And then all the lapis falls away. I couldn't figure out a way to spawn a door. Oh well, I thought that came out pretty good anyway. Ooh, how did that happen? That spawns late, just kind of for the effect. That blue block disappeared. I'll show you another part of that. Let's see, is there anything else? There's the half slab trick. We'll get to that in a second. Ooh, that didn't... I broke something. I should start changing the wall. This was just kind of a showcase here. This was actually the first thing I did, so I just kind of left it in and stuck it in. This was the first kind of wall change I made. The lever changes, just little ×0 set, switches it back. Oh yeah, another kind of neat effect is when you change the damage value, this has a delay to it, when you change the damage value of a lever, it actually updates the redstone, which is good. I'm glad of that. I was able to kind of switch it back, and I actually turned the lever into a button. Really cool. The cobwebs. Cobwebs are a little weird. I had to spawn the top layer there, then the next level down here, and the bottom level, and then I put the cobwebs in, because otherwise I'd have issues with things falling down through the cobwebs. But I did want to try to get the cobwebs in, because they're kind of cool, and just kind of as a challenge, you know. You also saw that like the birch took a little while to disappear, because the entity was actually falling through the cobwebs a little bit before it finally died. What's next? The wall falls away. It's simple, just the bottom level turns to half slabs, and everything else just gets set to ×0 and turns to falling sand. I don't know how that happened. What's going on? I don't know. Sometimes there's weird delay issues, and I don't know. Just because of how I have the delays set sometimes. This spawns here. And this was trickier because I had to actually spawn the house in here. There's a floor that had to spawn. So that redstone dust just spawned. That repeater just spawned. And, well, yeah, that's about it. the repeater spawned, the redstone dust spawned, the block spawned, the lever spawned, and this. Let's fix this, because this is switches to half slab, and then just kind of does a normal spawning process to drop all the blocks down. The lever pulls back, it resets, and this spawns all the treasure. Now, under here, this is a trapped chest, and this is what triggers the next part. The piston just kind of pushes a bunch of blocks down, which trigger the redstone wiring down there. Spawn a bunch of stuff. And I guess that's it. Cake. Oh no. So, here's another interesting property. When you replace a chest that has stuff in it, it destroys the chest and throws the crap everywhere. Which is kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I also had weird issues with spawning tile entity, like spawning a block in place of a tile entity. Didn't fully figure that out, so I just stuck ender chests there. Maybe somebody else can figure that out. And this was really cool. This was an accident. I was going to start replacing the whole floor with soul sand, and I screwed up the delay of the soul sand spawning, so it just did the blocks themselves just like that, and it kind of did this like cool effect. So I just put it on a loop, and this is what we got. This is just constantly replacing this block. Well, there we go. See, that's a time 0 wood block, and if I put an actual wood block there, it's actually spawning a solid wood block every time. It just keeps replacing it. You fall down through it, which is kind of funny. So, yep. Oh yeah, and then just part of the delay, I threw in cakes raining from the sky. I just missed the cakes. Oh well. Set up a nice grid pattern of cakes, and good to go. Okay, well, this, I guess I'll add this to the list here. Let me compile the rest of this list. Okay, trick number 5. This is one of my favorites. This helped a lot with spawning the house. Saw that like the whole inner part of the house was full of half slabs. Those were all top slabs. Mainly because I could easily switch them from a block that things can land on to a block things can't land on. Just through one spawner. And that cut down a lot on things I had to... spawners I had to add. And number 6. You can have the minecart spawner that spawns run on a loop, so that it kind of creates that earthquake effect. Probably gotta spawn it a little higher. So it doesn't graphically look like it falls down on the block. You kind of spawn it slightly higher. So I should have changed that negative 0.25 to a little higher. But yeah, you need to add this to the thing. XD is the delay, so I have it set to 20 ticks. And multi, so it constantly spawns. So it's just all part of the filter. If you know how these commands work with the thing, there you go. That's what you use. Alright, I think that's about all I want to cover for this one. We'll kind of go over the steps we used to create this house in the next episode. People were confused by that torch. Oh yeah, so there's a couple little things. So weirdness. Feel free to figure it out for me. But, well, I know for sure, stuff can't land on soul sand. Anything that's lower than a full block, falling sand entities can't seem to land on. Kazakh said there was something with, like, it's trying to land on the block below it, or it's trying to land too early, and it's destroying itself. It's obviously a bug, and it's annoying, because if you drop sand on soul sand, it obviously can land on it, but falling sand can't land on soul sand. It just breaks off. Number 2, trying to spawn a block in place of a tile entity. I couldn't get it to work. It might be possible, fiddling with height values and stuff. Even fiddling with height values and stuff, I couldn't get it to work right. I don't know if there's something weird with tile entities trying to land, or maybe there's a certain delay that can be set that makes that work. So that's weirdness number 2. Maybe there's something else. Alright, I think that's about all I'm going to cover for this episode. Thanks for watching, and we will go check out the spawners. Quick. So, it's probably about what you expect. There's a lot. All nicely organized in a grid. Each of these spawners has a delay of 10, like every time they're trying to spawn is every 10 ticks. So it kind of just to avoid kind of lag. All these spawners at a distance don't seem to have much lag to them at all. As long as they're out of their particle effects, they're really not that bad at all. I needed to set glowstone underneath all of these, and I probably would have not had any lag spawning the house, which, oh yeah, map download in the description. I'll probably set glowstone underneath these things before I put it up though, so hopefully your computer can handle it. I don't know. So, yep. This is the first level. This is the second level. This is actually everything to spawn the house. The entire sequence to spawn the house. It was a lot of work. So all in all, it was a few days of work. Really sleepless days. Alright. I guess that's about it. Can't even load the area because there's just too many minecarts. Alright, I don't think I ever did this. So, there's all of them. All the red boxes are the minecart spawners, all the yellow boxes are the spawners. Second floor of the whole house down here, and then everything up here is all the rest of the stuff. Like this over here is the cake spawning. This set over here is all the bedrock wall dropping. This is the well, then the house spawns, first wall, second wall, third wall change, fourth wall change. Then all the rest over here, this is the gravel and the what is it called? Yeah, the gravel changing the things and the soul sand changing the things. And over here is the cakes raining from the sky. And that's all the spawners. And so I wanted to hit analyze. I'm not sure if I ever looked at this. I might have. Tile entities, mob spawner, 2,149. Not bad. Not bad. Signs, what was it? The minecart spawner, 2,000. Yeah, it's about the same. Alright, cool. So a little over 2,000, 2,100. That's what it took to make this. And that's it. Alright, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.